in this piece. So okay, but before we get to that step, we better jump in and look at our first. So the first step that we're going to cover today is the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, just in one octave there, and we're going to look at how Clapton uses this scale with the second degree or the ninth added in, which is this second note here, which gives the scale a very different quality that you would get to the normal pentatonic scale because of the closeness of the interval between the second and the third degree here. So let's check out how he uses this in the opening phrase of the Layla Unplugged recording with this phrase here. Okay, so what we've got here is a pentatonic structure with the ninth that we've just looked at. So the ninth here, ascending up the scale, and the ninth here. So these two notes here between the second and the third, you can hear how that interval gives the pentatonic scale a completely different feeling, different structure, and it gives it more of a lyrical scale-like quality, which we don't necessarily associate with the minor pentatonic. So let's look at how he combines this minor pentatonic scale with the ninth with the more traditional blues scale or pentatonic with a flat fifth. So if we look at this phrase out of a later solo in the recording, we can see that it's starting off using that structure of the pentatonic with the ninth, okay, to get that very melodic scale-like quality to the pentatonic structure, and then using that step down there from the fifth, flat fifth, fourth. Okay, so you hear that when you combine it. It gives a very unique sound, a different twist on that blues phrasing that we get there. So really nice application and combination of techniques. So you can start practicing that by learning your pentatonic structures with the second degree added in, and then in the improvisations, looking at how you can combine the use of the second degree in your pentatonic with the blues scale, just like that. So for point number two, we're going to look at how Clapton emphasizes the highest pitch in his phrasing with the use of dynamics. So if we take a few excerpts from later on in this piece, so you can hear with each of these phrases, if we break them down into their individual parts, you can hear as it's rising up to target the highest pitches of those phrases, there's a lift and emphasis in dynamics. And then with this phrase here, we start off, okay, the dynamics drops from low to high in association with the pitch, and then this phrase. So what this use of targeting the highest pitch and lifting your dynamics to do so really emphasizes and brings out in the phrasing is a very lyrical and vocal-like effect. So Clapton is famous for being able to make phrases come alive, even using far less notes than other players. And practicing this technique where we've just got a simple phrase, where you're associating, connecting your use of dynamics to the lift and rising of the pitches, is something which is super simple, super basic. You don't have to learn any extra scales or techniques. You can just go about practicing that in your improvising practice. And trust me, this is something worth digging into to help bring your phrasing alive. So for step number three, we're going to look at an idea I call new phrase, new approach. So let's start breaking down the second solo from Layla to illustrate this point. So okay, double stops with a descending line there, and then we've got these double stops here. Okay, so sliding in there, very static in nature, very strong rhythmically into this phrase. Okay, which is using the pentatonic scale, using the second degree of the scale, and then we've got this slower, more rhythmic phrase, which uses the second degree associated with the minor pentatonic, and then into this combination where we have the minor pentatonic with the second added in, then going into a descending blues line. So the concept for this one is really simple, but ways you can start incorporating this into your practice is when you're working on your soloing and your improvisation, really just start with some basic ways in which you can contrast your phrasing. So just to take a few examples out of the solo here, a few ideas, the double stops with the descending line, and then you could use some double stops with something static. So you can even come up with your own variations on these ideas, but just start with something simple and work on trying to create that different approach, even if it's only subtle, to the beginning of each new phrase. And that's going to help your phrases stand out, have more impact, and move you one step closer to sounding like Clapton. Okay, so for step number 4, we're going to identify phrases and approaches used by Clapton by learning the solos and then practicing these individual components as licks to get them into our own playing. So once you can play the solo with the track, the next step that you're going to work on is identifying these tools or approaches, and for argument's sake, we're going to use this little double stop here, and then you can start to experiment and play around with how you can create variations upon that idea to use it as a tool to create phrases moving forward. So that's as simple as just taking that double stop. So you could be looking at ways in which you can change the rhythms up. So, okay. Other variations you could look at are ways which you could play that double stop, but look at different ways to end it. Okay, different approach. So. So not only when we learn these solos from great players are we taking in all their uses of scales and approaches to phrasing, but by playing around and taking them one step further, we're adding a very unique twist and ability to our own phrasing and soloing, which you really can't get via any other method. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, people, if you've enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to show your appreciation, follow the links below and sign up for a $1 per month membership on Patreon. Also, don't forget to check out my latest online course, which is the High Point Music Guitar Fundamentals program. You're going to be able to shave years off your development by using all these processes that I've developed and use with my one-on-one private students. Follow the links below to check it out on an obligation-free trial or to sign up and buy the course today. My name is Ryan Wyatt. I'm going to catch up with you all in the next video. Until then.